Hi everyone, Kirk Rifles here bringing you the all-new 2022 4th Generation Acura MDX with the advanced package. As Acura's newly appointed flagship, we're going to find out if it's worthy of such a title. Today we'll detail the sleek and sporty exterior, bask in the posh and cozy cabin, point out the great and of course not so great aspects, and test its upgraded performance, well, especially in the snow, you know, because it's a Shouty, guys. Hey Shouty, hey. Will the new MDX retain its crown as the best-selling 3-row luxury SUV? Let's find out. Now on the front, the biggest thing you'll notice, of course, is the dinner plate sized Acura badge, which looks just fine on this size of a vehicle. Behind it are the radar sensors for the adaptive cruise control and such. Above it is a camera, but you'll notice the very familiar at this point diamond pentagon grille. And with this advanced package, it has a nice chrome trim around it. Now, of course, we have fog lights with more chrome trim below them and decoys. These are fake vents. I would assume with the Type S coming out this summer that these won't be fake in the Type S. And of course the jewel eye headlights are stunning as always. Now on the side profile, the front hood is definitely longer. The dash to axle ratio has been lengthened to make it much more sporty, more luxurious, and I think they nailed it. These 20-inch wheels on the advanced package, I guess they're called the premium silver finish, are delicious. I think they're my favorite wheels on the brand new MDX. Although you can get 20s on the technology and A-spec trim, these are definitely my favorite. Of course, with this trim, you have auto folding mirrors. You have door handles that light up at night. But from the side, this new MDX definitely looks the part. Now, the rear of the MDX might be the most simple aspect of it. The rear taillights, the chicane style as they call them, are gorgeous, especially at night. It's definitely my favorite part of the rear end. The rectangular-ish exhaust tips, well, they're really just enclosures. There's a circular tip in there. Now, this advanced trim does have the kick sensor on it, which seems to work for me every single time, so Acura's done a good job implementing it there. Now that it's open, let's talk about the cargo capacity. All right, in the back of the MDX, now that everyone knows the MDX has always been spacious, now it's even more spacious than ever, and probably class leading at this point. 16 cubic feet of space behind the third row. This is removable and flippable, and then you have about 2 more cubic feet of space, so about 18 cubic feet of space behind the third row. You fold both of these down, no power folding button, but you don't need them when they fold down and they're able to bring up so easily. Then you have over, I think it's 48, and then after that, when you fold down all the seats, it's like 95 cubic feet of space. Now, one of my favorite things about this advanced package, at least when it comes to this rear hatch, there's a button here that you press it and it gives you 30 seconds to walk away and then it closes. So I'll press it, just hang out in here. I'm not gonna wait 30 seconds, but as soon as I walk away, it closes like a champ. It's so smart. Cars nowadays are so smart. Here inside the 2022 MDX, big interior, big improvement as well over the last generation. These seats in the advanced package are the Milano leather with contrast stitching and additional piping. They're super comfortable. They're also huge. So if you're a bigger person, I'm 6'1" and I don't know, close to 200, these seats still feel massive to me, and that's not a bad thing. It feels like a big sofa. Now, one of the things Acura is really proud of is their digital cockpit. This is the first time they've had a digital instrument cluster behind the steering wheel, and it's high definition. It has a high refresh rate, 60 Hertz, you know, because a human eye can't see over 60 frames per second. If you're a PC gamer, you know what I'm talking about. The steering wheel is perfect for my hands. Heated steering wheel button right on the top of there, and that is only available out of the factory in this advanced trim. Now, speaking of the advanced trim, this clocks in at over $61,000 after destination. That's definitely luxury territory, and we'll find out if it's worth that at the end. And for the most part, the materials in here are a step above. Soft touch here on the dash, on the doors, around the driver selection area. We have standard wireless charging, a huge area for your phone to sit in. That's a nice upgrade as well. I can't believe I didn't mention this in the original recording. Of course, this has the ELS studio audio, 16 speakers, 710 watts. It's, you know, expected in a high-class Acura to have the top-of-the-line ELS. However, there is 3 different ELSs in this new MDX. There's, I guess, the base one, which has, I think, 12 speakers and around 500 watts. You get that on the technology package. And then when you go up to the A-spec and advanced package I'm in right now, you get the upgraded ELS with 16 speakers, 710 watts. And then when the Type S comes out, it's going to have like 24 speakers and I don't know how many watts. So 3 different ELS systems, and to me, they all sound great. And my Toyota that has Bose, it's, yeah, I'm going to miss this. This has the latest of the True Touch interface, which I'll talk more about later, but that allows you to integrate with the screen, which, by the way, is a 12.3-inch high-definition screen. It is not a touch screen. Now, if you're a fan of glossy materials and glossy black in your vehicle, there's no escaping it in the new MDX. Although the open-pore wood on this advanced trim is very nice, it is easily forgotten because of the reflective and shininess and the dust and fingerprint collecting nature of the black glossiness. One of the things I really do appreciate is this little pop-up button here, and that allows you to plug in your phone through USB-C and standard USB-A as well. And above me is the standard panoramic sunroof. You can't even get this on a lot of its competitors. This thing is massive, and I'm so glad Acura was able to bring it over from the RDX because it's standard and its little brother, and they brought it here in the MDX. Nice job. And to no surprise, here in the second row of the MDX, tons of leg space and reclining capability. Now, what's cool about this second row, what's new about it, is not only will this fold down, and if you guys wonder why I paused abruptly, is because that little orange machine has a snow sifter on the front. I don't even know some sort of auger that pushes snow around, and it's really loud during the recording. So, guys, second row, tons of space. This folds down. You pull another lever here in the front and it flips up, and you can remove this. So if you wanted captain chairs, there you go. You have captain's chairs, so it makes it easier to get in the back seat, even though it's not difficult to get back there with how easily these slide forward. Cup holders are a little bit small. Can't complain too much. Down here in the front, this is where it gets exciting. In this advanced trim, we have heated outboard seats. We also have all sorts of connectivity. We have a regular household 112 or 115 volt. Then we have 2 USBs and then a power outlet down here as well for additional accessory power. It's road trip worthy at this point. In the third row of the MDX, I've moved this seat pretty far back in front of me. My knees are running into it. Now, they've given us 2 more inches of leg space. If the person's 6 feet or shorter in front of you, they can easily move this seat forward to give you a lot more leg space. And one of my favorite things about this third row, not only that it's more roomier than the previous version, but you have USBs on each side in this advanced package that also light up at night so you can find them more easily. Now, there are quite a few highlights, being that this vehicle is cutting edge, especially when it comes to technology. The iconic Drive LED ambient lighting is pretty darn cool. You get 27 to select from. 3 of them are mapped to the driving modes initially, but you can defeat that and then put on any individual lighting setting from 27 different locations around the world after they're themed after. It's pretty cool. There's also a feature called Cabin Talk, which I believe it's new for Acura, but I think it's been around on like the Odyssey. But essentially, I don't have to yell to the kids in the back. I select Cabin Talk through the menu here, and it plays like a PA system to the back, so I don't have to yell. How useful is it? I don't know, but I think it's cool. And this is small, but it really makes me happy. There's a button right here for the Acura safety features, and you just press it, and then up on the MID here, or should I say the Precision Cockpit, it'll give you a list of every single safety feature, and you can easily turn it on or off just with the press of this button. So many cars have menus you have to dig through just to get to those safety features. Another highlight is the heads-up display. It's one of the best I've seen. Not only is it large and bright, but if I have an address plugged into my Android Auto, the turn-by-turn navigation directions pull up on the heads-up display. That's pretty impressive. And this is a weird thing for me. I'm really picky about steering wheel placement. This steering wheel allows for 50% more steering wheel telescoping compared to the last model, which is awesome for me because I have long legs and I'm not really a T-Rex. I don't have super short arms. I have normal arms for my height, but my legs are a little bit longer. But anyways, what does that mean? Is that I like to sit far back and I don't have Gumby arms to stretch out to the steering wheel. So luckily, the steering wheel comes out quite a ways to meet my hands where they're comfortable. All right, it's time for the lowlights. There are plenty of things to praise this vehicle about, but there are a few things to really gripe on it. For the True Touch interface, it's supposed to be updated for this. Now, I've only really been using it for the most part with Android Auto. That's just how I prefer to operate in the car. And luckily that's wireless, and you have wireless Apple CarPlay as well, Amazon Alexa on here for the first time as well. That's all good and dandy, except for when you try to use a TrueTouch interface, it is a swipe-tastic difficulty getting anything to work. Now, it's supposed to match your fingers one for one on the touchpad to what is on the screen. However, on Android Auto, I don't have that success all the time. And other than the scratchy black plastic here, I could only find one other thing that kind of got on my nerves. It is so hard to change all those LEDs. You have a list of 27 of them. I had to go, well, I looked in the manual, couldn't find anything in the manual on how to change that. So you press the home button, you have to swipe over and then swipe down, find the settings. You have to go to vehicle, then lighting setup, and then go to accent lighting theme. And that's where you find this beautiful menu. It's a beautiful menu of all these options in here. Unfortunately, it's so hard to get to it. Now, you can customize the home screen a little bit by selecting icons and finding ways to, get a shortcut. But if I click and hold lighting setup, nothing comes up. And if I click and hold accent light theme, it doesn't give me an option to add it to the home screen. So I have to bury myself through the menus just to find this beautiful hidden sub-menu of all the lighting options for the interior LEDs. So you have 27 different options, but if it's that big of a pain to change, I'm never going to do it. And although the MDX is brand new, pretty much from the ground up, this V6 has very little in terms of changes. Apparently they've made it a little bit quieter at certain RPMs, and that's perfectly fine because it adds to the luxurious, smooth persona of the vehicle. But 290 horsepower and about 265 pound-feet of torque or so is all you're going to get out of it until the Type S comes this summer with 355 horsepower. Now, if you're hoping for electrification, I did reach out to Acura and I asked them, hey, things are getting more electrified. You guys decide to cancel your sport hybrid on the last generation and you don't bring a successor here, at least at launch of this new MDX. And they said, well, we have stuff up our sleeve. We would be foolish not to have electrification in mind with this new light truck platform. And I think it might be time to put the MDX on the road. Now time for a little driving impressions. The 360 camera on the advanced trim is very nice. The backup camera is also super high resolution. I do appreciate that. And we're gonna do a little in-town driving test first, and then of course we're gonna stretch its legs a little bit on the highway and test the transmission, because that's one of the most curious things to me is how does this 10-speed automatic transmission behave with this large vehicle? We've seen it applied on slightly smaller vehicles like the TLX and RDX. How does it handle and apply to such a large vehicle? We're at a full stop here. Why don't we just give it a little bit of go? Let's twist it into sport mode and go. I don't know what just flew back there. It could have been my phone, but that first gear is so short and so aggressive. I didn't sense any wheel spin because the super handling all-wheel drive just kicked in right away. I don't know. It's my phone. My phone couldn't handle those G's. I think it flew straight out of the wireless charging area. So if you had any worries about this, 290 horsepower not being quite enough for this MDX, well, rest assured it'll be plenty for most people. And the reason is because this 10-speed automatic always has it in the right power band, right torque, right horsepower, and that first gear was a lot more aggressive than I was expecting. Sitting behind this deliciously attractive truck in front of me, we get treated with very quiet interior. The blinkers by far, it's so quiet in here that the blinker was annoying me. Very quiet. The engine, you can barely tell if it's on, and in sport mode it deactivates the auto start and stop, which there's a button right here next to the shifter that allows you to turn it off anyways. All right, let's get around this abomination of a hauling truck. Junk removal. That's it. This vehicle's anything but junk, that's for sure. And out here, I'm going about 40 miles an hour. It's gliding, it feels like you're floating. So Acura's done a really good job of taking, the feeling of this vehicle much further than its Honda counterparts. It definitely feels and drives at least when it comes to smoothness and quietness and just a kind of like the luxury boat feeling. It has that. Now going up this hill, we're just going to press the throttle down, see how the transmission handles it. Effortlessly, so smooth. I can't get over how smooth this transmission and engine combination is. Acura, I know you consider the 2-liter turbo putting it in here, and I'm so glad you didn't, because it just wouldn't do this big car justice, and it wouldn't equate to the smoothness and luxury that we expect from this vehicle, especially after you name it your flagship. So good decision with staying with the V6. Time for on-ramp, and this is where we're going to twist it into sport mode and see how well this double wishbone suspension in the front and new upgraded multi-link suspension in the back handles. And this thing definitely is handling this much better than you would expect a vehicle of this size. That was actually honestly better than I was expecting, even knowing they made the upgrades to the suspension to make this a much better handling vehicle. How good that felt, I really can't communicate that to you over YouTube, but I promise you guys, if you want a pretty darn good handling and performing SUV in the luxury market, I mean, it's fine, it's gonna be great. And now that we're out on the highway, getting a better idea of the quiet luxury nature of this car comes into better mind here. And you feel just as isolated from the noise as you do in town at low speeds as you do at high speeds. So Acura's figured that out. And what I really want to test is, again, the transmission. Acura says not only is response time better, it can shift 4 gears at a time. So right now I'll be in, well, it won't let me upshift to 10th gear with the paddle shifters, but I'm in 8th gear right now. I'm gonna hammer the throttle. There's a bit of a hesitation, so let me explain that. It almost does a double downshift. You don't feel it though. I'm gonna do that again, hammer. It does a little bit of thinking. Let's do it one more time, going about 55 miles an hour punch. I think it's adequate for the class and large SUV. It's not the most shifty in downshifting. It's not the quickest. It's not the most satisfying. But overall, the downshifts are good enough for the average person. The upshifts, to me, are the highlight of this gearbox. And we're gonna hit the brakes pretty hard here. They've increased the braking of this vehicle quite a bit. The larger brake rotors are supposed to help with heat dissipation, and it's supposed to help with stopping, of course. And brake pedal feels okay. It's not phenomenal by any means, but it's good enough. And if it brakes better than the last generation, which it does, that's a step in the right direction. Now, I didn't think we would find this today. This parking lot hasn't been plowed since Monday, which we got that big snowstorm. So I just put it into snow mode, and without further ado, let's test out this new MDX and see what she has. Now, mind you, this has Bridgestone Alenza all-season tires, and it's doing a pretty good job getting its way through this about foot-high snow. And even with the all-season tires on here, this thing is just making short work of just snow it's not even packed. So if you have packed snow, this thing will do just fine, even with all season. But if you even have unpaved streets, which we just demonstrated there, it's going to do just fine. With its impressive exterior design, roomy interior, and up-to-date technology, I do expect this new MDX to carry the torch as the best-selling 3-row luxury SUV. And its two closest rivals, the Lexus RXL, well, that's not going to be a threat, as that is a little outdated with an unusable 3rd row to boot. And then you have the even more outdated Infiniti QX60, which a redesign is supposed to be coming this year. But in the meantime, this is going to bask alone, pretty much at the top of the 3-row luxury Asian crossover market. But the Genesis GV80, I haven't got my hands on it, so I can't tell you what's better and what's not. If you're shopping for a luxury 3-row crossover, the MDX, of course, should be near the top of your list, if not at the top. Definitely consider it. Guys, I'll see you in the comments. If you made it this far in the video, smash the like button, subscribe for more reviews and news on Japanese and Korean autos, and I'll see you guys in the comments and in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Peace out.